A Financial Times report revealed a surprising statement that could completely change the course of the war in Ukraine. During conversations with Donald Trump, Xi Jinping reportedly stated that Vladimir Putin might ultimately regret invading Ukraine. If confirmed, this statement would represent a dramatic shift in China's position and suggest that even Russia's closest allies are beginning to question Putin's strategy. Brett McGurk, an American diplomat with decades of experience in complex negotiations, argues that this revelation coincides with a fundamental change on the battlefield. For the first time since the beginning of the conflict, military trends appear to be favoring Ukraine, creating a unique opportunity to push for a peace agreement on more favorable terms. The denials came quickly. Both Trump and Chinese officials categorically rejected the report. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs called the information completely false, while Trump told reporters that Xi had never made such a comment. It is rare to see such strong statements from the Chinese leadership, which normally chooses its words with extreme caution. However, Trump also revealed that Xi allegedly said during the same summit that the United States was a nation in decline, a comment with which Trump agreed. Such frankness would also be unusual for Xi, lending some credibility to the original report. When Putin arrived in Beijing this week for his own summit with Xi, there were no visible signs of embarrassment or tension. Regardless of whether Xi's statement is true, battlefield data suggest a significant shift in the dynamics of the conflict. Putin had hoped that 2026 would be the year his forces would break through the front lines and capture the disputed regions in eastern Ukraine. That has not happened. An assessment by the Institute for the Study of War revealed that in April, Ukraine achieved net territorial gains for the first time since the incursion into Russia's Kursk region in 2024. Approximately 116 square kilometers of territory were recaptured. The Economist's War Tracker also confirms that Ukraine has enjoyed small but significant territorial gains for the first time since 2023. These reports stand in sharp contrast to Russian claims. The chief of the Russian General Staff asserted that Russian forces captured approximately 1,600 square kilometers of territory during 2026. A darker statistic provides additional evidence of Ukrainian advances: the exchange of fallen soldiers between the two sides. The commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, Oleksandr Syrsky, has stated that the overall casualty ratio stands at 7 to 9 Russian soldiers killed for every Ukrainian soldier killed. These are devastating losses for the Russians, considering that a basic military principle suggests an attacking force typically needs a 3-to-1 manpower advantage to have a strong chance of success. The problem is that the exchange of recovered bodies between the two sides has been heavily imbalanced in the opposite direction. According to official figures, Russia has returned a total of 24,955 Ukrainian bodies and received 3,450 Russian bodies in exchange. In the most recent exchange, 526 Ukrainians were exchanged for 41 Russians. The Ukrainian side argues that because Russian forces have been advancing, they were able to recover the fallen from captured positions, while Ukraine did not have the same opportunity. In the latest exchange, the number of Russian bodies doubled compared to recent months, while the number of Ukrainian bodies was nearly cut in half. This suggests that Ukraine may indeed be beginning to advance on the battlefield, recovering Russian casualties as it moves into positions previously occupied by Russian forces. As a result of the stalled Russian offensive, pressure is becoming increasingly visible within Russia itself. In a rare display of public dissent, Russian lawmaker Renat Suleimanov warned that Russia's economy cannot sustain a prolonged war in Ukraine. He noted that 40% of the federal budget is now allocated to defense and security, 1.5 times more than total social spending. Another clear sign is Putin's declining approval rating. The Russian state research agency VTSIOM reports that Putin's approval rating fell to 65.6% at the end of April 2026, the lowest level recorded since the start of the war against Ukraine. A key factor behind this pressure is Ukrainian drone warfare. Ukraine has established a 10 to 15 kilometer kill zone, where Russian forces are unable to advance without being exposed to constant drone attacks. Ukrainian drones now routinely strike deep inside Russia, targeting military airfields, factories, energy infrastructure, and ammunition depots. Over the past 2 years, the number of Ukrainian long-range drone launches has increased dramatically. From 110 unmanned aerial vehicles launched in January 2024, the number rose to more than 7,000 in March 2026. Recently, Russian officials reported the largest attack on the capital in more than a year, with air defenses intercepting over 550 drones. These attacks are forcing Russia to disperse its air defenses, relocate aircraft, and dedicate increasing resources to homeland defense. Ukraine is expanding the battle space and raising the costs of the war for Moscow. While Moscow struggles to gain any meaningful territory on the battlefield in Ukraine, Putin is being forced to confront a strategic defeat. Putin's war objectives included the complete subjugation of Ukraine, the weakening of NATO, and the restoration of Russia as the dominant power in Eurasia. Those objectives are increasingly out of reach. The battlefield is now focused on the Donbas region, with no realistic chance of Russian forces capturing Kyiv, Putin's original objective. McGurk argues that while Xi has ordered the People's Liberation Army to be ready for an operation to seize Taiwan by 2027, his military remains untested in combat, and Ukraine is demonstrating the difficulty of achieving a rapid political collapse against a determined defender. Over the next 6 months, Xi will be studying these trends and weighing the advantages and disadvantages as they relate to his plans for Taiwan. McGurk believes this provides the United States with an opportunity to reinforce Xi's caution and increase pressure on Putin. The smart move would be to strengthen NATO and its support for Ukraine, demonstrating to Putin that he has no chance of regaining momentum, and to Xi that any move against Taiwan would be met with a coordinated response. Diplomacy has failed because Ukraine has not been willing to give up territory that it believes it can defend militarily, while Russia still believes it can seize that territory through military means. Breakthrough negotiations rarely succeed when both sides feel equally confident. But now, with trends shifting in Ukraine's favor, the underlying assumptions behind this stalemate no longer apply. Trump's diplomatic assumption has been that Ukraine must make concessions at the negotiating table or lose the war on the battlefield. That assumption is now false. Ukraine is more confident in its own defense and less dependent on promises from Washington. Russia faces a future of mounting casualties and growing economic pressure with little prospect of a turnaround. For Trump, the best chance to end the war now lies not in assuming Ukrainian weakness, but in recognizing Russia's increasing vulnerability. There is now leverage to force an agreement on terms acceptable to Ukraine, and Washington should use it. This analysis reveals how changes on the battlefield can completely transform diplomatic dynamics, creating a window of opportunity to achieve a lasting resolution to the conflict.